Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Holotide here, and we got some marathon news coming out today. Sony held their annual business segment meeting for PlayStation last night, and if you cut through all the mumbo-jumbo, you get to a point where they do talk about Marathon. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you might not realize that Marathon was kind of going through a bumpy journey. There's been so many things that have happened with Marathon over the past couple years, from leadership changes, design philosophy changes. There's been some legal stuff. There's been news stories about how the managerial people weren't listening to devs and their red flags about the game. There was the alpha, which, had its problems as well. Then there was the whole art scandal stuff, and it's just been, one bad thing after another for this game. That being said, I do want Marathon to be good, and I want it to be, a good game. I don't want games to fail because I want more games to play that are good, and hopefully they figure out all the legal stuff for the art, fiasco. But it's got a couple of black eyes on it. But in this interview, the CEO of the Studio Business Group for Sony said that Marathon was an innovative and bold take on the extraction shooter genre, and that they saw strong early engagement from Marathon. Now, engagement, can be taken multiple ways. There was a lot of strong engagement. I'm just not so sure that a lot of it was positive. As for the player base, the all-time peak, I think, on Steam, I do think that they invited more players that were on consoles, but on Steam it was less than 7,000 people playing. So it's kind of like, But he also said that they were very excited about the release of Marathon this fiscal year. So the thing is why would you not just say the September release date with that? I think that there's something to be said about it. A lot of people have called for a delay, and I think this is Sony maybe opening themselves up to that, because the fiscal year doesn't end until 2026. I believe it's March. So you could see a delay from September to, at the latest, March, but still, that's like 5 months, 6 months. So I'm not sure what all they could change. A year, there could be more substantial changes, but I think, if the studio and the devs think they need a delay, then give the game a delay. I think that you should listen to them first and foremost. I think that PlayStation, a lot of people have been making videos on PlayStation wants Marathon to fail and all this stuff, and there's all these conspiracy theories, and, I don't know. I'm not in those boardroom meetings. I don't know the future. I can see it either way at this point. There's so much that goes into it, in a legal sense, that it's just like, these people are kind of playing Game of Thrones out there. There's been so many reports on what's going on behind the scenes that, Bungie and Sony are changing their marketing tactics, that Bungie is going to do, open beta things up until the release and stuff. And until Sony or Bungie actually comes out, kind of like with a roadmap or whatever it is they're going to do, I don't know. I think that the live stream that Bungie did with both the Joes, where they didn't show any gameplay, it was planned to be more than that. They were going to show gameplay and stuff, but because of all the artwork and stuff, it turned into the whole meme thing. I just think a lot of people are, I don't even know if they're on the fence. In this day and age, it's so hard to come out of, bad press like this and then have a successful launch. I think what the game really does need is time, and I think that that's unfortunate because, again, it just feels like I want good games to come out, and I want to play new games and stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that statistic, but it was like most people play games that are older than 6 years at this point now, and that's just like a crazy statistic to me. But it doesn't look like we're going to get a year delay out of Marathon. So let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel about this. If you're at all excited for Marathon still, if you're hopeful, if you're just kind of, past the point of no return with the game and you're just not interested at all, I would love to know, because I do plan on making content on it when it comes out, at any, whenever it comes out. So we'll see what happens. I will catch you guys in the next video. Make sure you leave a like on this one. Make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Peace!